These just don't cut it anymore. Let's see how much money we got. Ah.
$1 IEM.
This is it. Nice. Uh-oh. Consumerism. Yup, we're gonna tackle something that isn't the easiest thing to talk about, but I wanted to give my probably half-baked take on it because I'm starting to see a pattern emerging in my own life. In my previous video, I covered my descent into the mechanical keyboard rabbit hole and eventual escape from it. So you'd think that falling into a rabbit hole as deep as I did would be a pretty uncommon occurrence. But I found myself falling into yet another rabbit hole just as hard as I did in the past. I fell so hard, I even know what this means. Do I just never learn? Is there something innately wrong with me? Or is it the system?
It really says a lot about society.
Today, that's what I'm planning to find out. And maybe, just maybe, be able to save myself from financial ruin again. So these are IEMs, which stand for in-ear monitors. These are the type of earbuds that are placed directly in your ear canal, and I've been using them for years now. I remember having a pair of Sennheiser CX 1.00s that were gifted to me, and I absolutely love those things. I used them until they broke down, and since then, I think I've bought over 4 or 5 cheap IEMs from the Chi-Fi market, mostly made from KZ, same manufacturer that makes these guys, and I've always loved the intimate experience that you get from listening with these IEMs. They shoot the sound directly into your ear canal and really give you that feeling that the music is in your head. Now, I know everyone here isn't interested in IEMs or any audio equipment, so I'll keep it short and straight to the point. Although, I never do that. To set up the story for you, I've been using these headphones as my daily drivers for years now, and I absolutely love them. These are the Audio-Technica ATH M20Xs, and they've been absolutely fine for the longest time. My audio setup was pretty simple. I had these headphones for when I was working on my desk, and for the rest of the time, when I went out to do some errands or just wanted to listen to music away from my desk, I'd use these, the KZ ZSN Pro X. Now, both of these aren't the cheapest at around 50 to 60 bucks for the headphones and just around 20 for the IEMs, but this is a great place to stop. You have a good listening experience no matter what your situation is, and having 2 separate devices gives you enough spice and variety to keep things fresh and interesting. But then, recently, I was on a trip and my cousin let me have a listen to his Moondrop Quarks. I loved how they sounded. I already had a base knowledge of audio jargon, so I understood when he said the vocals were very forward. And that was practically all I understood though, at the time, because I hardly knew much else. And I was entranced with how the vocal was right there, front and center, without the instrumental crowding any of the spotlight. This was an experience I hardly ever got to have with my audio gear, so it left me a little bit jelly. When I got home, I was mindlessly scrolling through YouTube as you do when you're a useless 20-something, and I swear, I got recommendations for IEM reviews out of nowhere. Okay, well, let's be honest, I probably looked them up while I was away on my trip, which helped the Google overlords show this content to me, so don't worry, I'm not some sort of conspiracy theorist who worries about the feds listening in on every one of our conversations and selling their data to huge corporations for better ads targeting. But that's a topic for another video. But anyway, so I got recommended more and more of these review videos, and through all of my quote-unquote research, I finally found it. The definitive bang for your buck, best value belt, ultimate value king, the Moondrop Aria. But more on that later. Since the days of my IEM awakening, to this day, I've amassed the lineup of products that one might refer to as a problem. But anyway, here's what I have. So, I told you about my Audio-Technica ATH M20Xs and my KZ ZSN Pro Xs, but since then, I got those Moondrop Quarks that my cousin let me try out, and this cheap headphone amp for my M20Xs. And, wait for it, the Moondrop Arias. So I actually got these used at such an incredible price, I felt like I was stealing. I got these for around $40, which is half the price of a brand new pair. And apparently the humidity where I live causes the paint to chip off pretty quickly, which is why they look like I was run over by a truck while wearing them, but that's not the point. And to round it all out, I got a pair of Bose QC35-2s. I know, this came out of left field, especially for someone who just fell into the IEM rabbit hole. Why would I buy Bluetooth headphones? Seems like something I wouldn't do. But I had realized something while using the IEMs. I feel way too restricted by the cable when I'm working at my desk. And I work at my desk, so it accounted for a lot of my listening time. Sometimes, I feel like I just want to throw some darts or check on my 3D print, and it becomes such a hassle having to remove my IEMs like 50 times a day, so I caved and scraped up every for sale post for a good pair of wireless headphones online, and found this pair of QC35-2s for $100. You know your broke brown boy had to find the best deal imaginable to make a purchase, so I got these, and I actually do not regret getting them at all. Okay, so back to the point of the video, if you guys are even still here to find out. I've amassed enough items here to label this as a problem, and seeing as though this problem could spiral into a pit of despair, I really had to step back and take an objective look at what was happening here. So after giving it one little crumb of thought, I started doing what I do best. That's right. Put the blame on someone else. Yes, although I made a conscious decision to buy every single piece of audio gear here, it's not actually my fault. And let me tell you why. Yes, I'm blaming the burgeoning economy of tech journalism. Tech media? Tech influencers? Well, whatever you want to call them. Now, this sounds like a joke, but you gotta hear me out, okay? I'm not actually blaming them for my problems. I'm just starting to see a pattern with how I react to seeing all the cool new tech that gets so much coverage on the internet. In my last video, I recommended that people unfollow their favorite creators from any specific niche if it's really causing their financial ruin. Although this may seem like a band-aid solution to a real problem, I think it highlights why getting into any rabbit hole these days has become a slip and slide right into a pit of despair. It's become so easy to fall right into a new rabbit hole, just like this IEM one I'm finding myself in right now. A few YouTube videos in, I already had an idea of what the go-to picks were, the best budget options, the absolute juggernauts in the premium segment, and everything in between. From what I said just then, you can probably tell a lot of the main takeaways I got from the videos I've seen had something to do with the purchase decision. And it's because these videos I've seen did a great job of getting their point across. When it comes to any hobby, the people who make the videos to cover the products know that they hold a lot of responsibility. If people watch their videos recommending something, they could be the reason for people shelling out their hard-earned cash to buy something that they recommend. So, these tech influencers try their best to influence you to making the right decision and hope you don't waste your money. But exactly because of this, a lot of the tech coverage is just a constant reminder to just buy. It starts to feel like we're seriously missing out if we don't get the best deals on the market, and that's something you shouldn't be exposing yourself to, especially when you literally can't afford it. Even if influencers are responsible and well-intentioned about their recommendations in the hopes that their viewers don't waste their money, there still comes a point where the videos are so frequent and ubiquitous that the carefully crafted, responsible recommendation soon becomes just buy. Now, this brings me to my next point. Value is a myth. Okay, you know what? Maybe we should change that. It's not perfectly right. The value of a product is misleading. Let me show you something interesting about the IEM rabbit hole. You know how in most hobbies, like keyboards for example, there is no definitive best keyboard? Most hobbies are so subjective, and that's a big part of the fun of it. But if you found yourself in the IEM rabbit hole, you'll quickly realize that things are very different. IEMs can be ranked. Many creators have spreadsheets of their rankings, and although people have their own opinions, because there's so much data on IEMs and their frequency performance can be shown on a graph, they can be put on a list and there can be a definitive number one. So this is a great example to show you because although some factors are still up to preference, there are IEM rankings online and we can get a look at the price to performance ratio of any particular IEM based on its position in the ranks. This is Critical's IEM ranking list, probably one of the most extensive ones out there. Incredible dedication. This ranking list has a metric buttload of IEMs, and oh my god, how can anyone be this thorough? But really, this helps people in the hobby contextualize their possible purchases and compare against similar products. Now, let's take a look at the Moondrop Arias that I'm fortunate enough to have a pair of. Highly regarded as the best deal in IEMs under $100, we can see that it's rated with 3 stars for value. And that's all well and good, but I think this is something that's truly misleading, and here's why. The performance is great. The price is great for the performance that you get. But here's the question. Do you really even need it? And that question is something people who are new to any hobby should be seriously asking themselves. When we watch these tech reviews, we're instantly exposed to the best deals in tech, and seeing this so often makes us lose an objective view on things. If I was in the market for a good listening experience and found myself watching a couple IEM videos on YouTube, now this is subjective, but I'd probably be looking around in the price range of about 10 to 20 bucks to satiate my audio needs. But the Moondrop Aria just comes up so much and costs $80. It already makes you think that you need to get the Aria and you need to make up the $60 difference because it is the best deal and nothing else. Buying anything cheaper is going to make you feel like you're missing out just because a deal like the Aria exists. Now, I'm not trying to take away any credit from the Aria here or any product that's regarded to as a great deal in any hobby. They have great features at a great price, and that's all well and good, but we as consumers need to dig deep and single out features that we need and focus on those features alone. Let's take the Moondrop Choose for example. It doesn't have the technical performance of the Arias, but are good enough, and they have great tone. And these are only for 20 bucks, and that fits right into the price range I was thinking of when I wanted to find good IEMs. The Moondrop Choose are a bit of an anomaly though. Many good deals at the lowest price points of any hobby hardly get any spotlight on the big channels, which makes it even harder to find without hard research. Hello everyone, Editor Brick here. I just wanted to say that it might not be the most applicable to say that the $20 segment or the budget segment isn't really that exposed or doesn't get that much exposure by the big channels anymore. Because I made this script maybe in October of last year, and since then, a lot of good $20 IEMs have been coming out. The Tangzu wan'er, 7Hz Sound Note 0, we have, of course, the Choose that I mentioned. Truth here is Ola at this point. So because the script is pretty old, it might not be that true anymore, I guess. The market has changed a lot, and maybe the Aria isn't the best deal anymore. The Tangzu wan'er looks like it might be the best deal under 50 bucks. We don't know. So, yeah. Just hope you guys remember, and hope you don't flame me in the comments, but that's all I wanted to say. Back to the video. Okay, wow. I feel out of breath. There's just so much to say. I know this video is a bit all over the place, but I want to show a bit more of my personality and how I actually structure my thoughts and conversation. But what I'm trying to get across to everyone through the screen is that most things that we're exposed to on the internet, unfortunately, comes with price tags. All the hobbies I've enjoyed since I was a kid had some kind of product I actually needed to buy to participate in the hobby. Now that I'm a grown man and have the money to irresponsibly blow on the stupid things I've always dreamed of, I found that it's just way too easy to blow money on a random rabbit hole I found just 5 minutes ago. Now, I'm not saying that all tech coverage on YouTube and on the internet is all bad. It's just that capitalist society wants to squeeze normal people like you and me out of everything we've got. But if you're just like me, finding that rabbit holes are just way too easy to fall into, and you just seem to be hemorrhaging funds at every mention of the best bang for your buck item, then you and I have a lot of work to do, because the way everything is set up just isn't going to help us out. We need to start taking an objective look at our base needs and buy the item that covers our absolute baseline of needs. It's really that simple. And think about getting a cheaper entry-level product when getting into a new hobby, because I hate to break it to you, but it's not even a guarantee that you'll be enjoying this hobby for a very long time. The chances are you'll be getting this product and never using it again. So there you go. Those are my thoughts. This advice is actually pretty hard to follow, but if you can have the self-control to, I think you'll really be in a better place. So thank you for listening to my rant, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully, when you're not as broke. See ya!